GX-71.
What's up, guys? It's Charles here to do a review for Rocket Punch Army. Today we have something that comes to us from tfdirect.com. They were kind enough to send out the final piece to the Fantasy Jewel. This would be the Black Lion, right? So if you're interested in getting this, click the link in the description below. And if there's some background noise, that's pretty much my air conditioner. I'm doing this in my room. Now I have air conditioning. It's freaking humid as hell. Always complaining about something in every review, aren't I? But this is the box. So you can see here it says Fantasy Jewel FJ-BSW05. Who knows what all that stands for? I guess this obviously is Fantasy Jewel. This is those people that like to whip people. And you got that little female Voltron thing going on, which is kind of reminiscent of that little picture of that girl that was around the internet for a little while. And it's a little beat up, you know. Understandably, they're not, you know, they're sending this out, whatever, from China, and it gets all beat up all over the place. But here is the box. I do want to say the box is really nice. I think what they did here is photograph, I believe, the real Soul of Chogokin GX-71, because it looks kind of chromy here, even though the final of this, actually all of them really, don't have that chrome die cast. They have just like the standard, just I guess slightly polished raw metal. But I do have to say this is probably one of the nicer boxes of the whole Fantasy Jewel line. And I like how they did all the little airbrushing just to make it a little bit more cartoony. You got the Gold Lion chest shield crest thing. Fantasy Jewel again. The bottom, nothing new there. But the back, of course it's upside down. Everything's upside down when I show you guys. Alright, there we go. Damn it. But it's got a cool little sequence there. Not actually sure what it says. I'm sure someone will translate it, or maybe if I'm not lazy, I'll translate it and put the subtitles below. If you're not seeing subtitles, that means I'm just lazy. But anyway, I love that. I think it looks really cool. I like the way they did that. Obviously computer generated, but anything is cool to me as long as you put some effort into it. The little details, there's actually little details in the eyes. Are there pilots in there? No, it's just little circles, like little kind of optic things going on in there. You'll notice they did draw this part round, even though the mold of the green line is the same as the red line, which is kind of annoying, but I can understand that. I don't know what the deal is with Fantasy Jewel. If they're just like undercover somewhere, just pumping these things out, like worried about Bandai knocking down on the door, so they just make them quick. Obviously they're going to want to save money, but in the end this really actually technically is more expensive than the Soul of Chogokin original release. So I don't know, I guess, you know, and they're going to have another reissue, but the thing is they constantly are sold out. So this is another option. It's not the best option, but it's an option. One thing I wish they would have done before we get in, I blab a lot, I know that. But I wish they would have done this as like a Lion bot, where they copy the box and everything like that, but it's different. That would have been really awesome. I am showing you now the contents. As you can see here, you gotta be careful because it comes with a little baggie. I have crumbs because I was eating Cocoa Krispies, and of course my display just fell. Alright, anyway, yeah, I was eating Cocoa Krispies and I got a bunch of crumbs. It doesn't come like that. It's just me being messy. And I eat Cocoa Krispies. What's wrong with that? My daughter eats them. I eat most of the box and the rest is for her. How about that? So I got the little baggie here. I was telling you to be careful because most of the items in here are sharp and there's always a hole. I know Ben's Collectibles had the same thing. I was watching his review. And so you just got to be careful because there's little pieces in here. Alright? By the way, after watching mine, of course, watch his if you haven't so already. I like his frequent use of the word glorious because that's really, sometimes that's the best word to use. I can't use it because then people are going to be like I'm copying him. So anyway, it looks like you got to put the sword together. Yeah, it's even got the little nubs. This little nubby, the nub bag, I call them nubs because they look like nubs. What would you describe these little things? Little tiny mushrooms? I don't know. I call them nubs, but those are the like jewels that go on the sword, I guess. There's an extra tail. Is this for him? I know. Oh, speaking of the tail, just so I can tell you guys, the tail is known for breakage, but I don't think it's this part. I think the tail should have had the ball joint, right? Maybe, but it's actually the other end of it that has a ball joint. But it's been breaking. But I wanted to show you guys something because I have reviewer ADHD or whatever that is. I just seem to jump from one thing to another without going in order. But now that we're on the subject of the tail, you can see mine's intact. You can see the little ball joint pops out of this thing right here, and then from this moving it pops off, and then it gets stuck inside the tail. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Even if it was on the tail, it's going to get stuck somewhere, so it just kind of sucks. But whatever, just something you guys should take note of. Before we continue, another thing to take note of is when you pull the tail out, it gets stuck on some parts. Alright, and I think a lot of breakage can happen from people trying to fold it back in. Right there, it's stuck. I mean, I can put all the weight on it. This thing moves up and down. Like, I don't know if you could see. It's kind of hard to describe to you, but it moves. It's like there's a slot in there. I can't get it to do it now, but there's a, yeah, right there. You can push up, push it down. See how it sinks in? It looks like a little piece of Lego, doesn't it? And then it allows you to push it in. Or not, whatever. But there's something like when I slide it up, it's just annoying. Alright, so let's just get that out of the way. But there's a lot of things which we'll go over in a second that get in the way. I don't mean to start out with the negatives, but we did get on this, or I got on the subject of the tail, assuming you guys would be thinking about that. But anyway, I can't close that. I remember now, I was doing it wrong. You gotta pull open this crotch thing, and then it shifts up and down. You can actually push it in. I think it's from here. Damn it. Don't get it the right way each time. There we go. Kind of sinks in. You can push it in, and then it folds up. It's just a little more effort than, you know, I believe you should give something to fold in a tail, but apparently that's what it is. But anyway, getting back to this, it looks good. I mean, I opened it. I haven't, even for myself, compared the two, but I think it looks good. I just want to get used to the way this looks. Maybe when I pull out the original, then I'll be like, oh, the original looks better. But without comparing, just going by memory, I think this looks good. It is annoying me. This little red thing comes to a point right there, but it doesn't here. It's like nicely painted there. There's a couple of things again, I'm sorry, I'm pointing out the negatives, but let's look at it again. Let's start over, sir. All right, so here he is. Looks good. It's got the same kind of things the original has. You get the little wings here. One thing I did notice is swirling in the plastic, because they're trying to do that, like that metallic look kind of paint, or not paint, but plastic. I'm not sure if the GX-71 is that, or just regular, but that's what the swirling is. It's not actually in the mold, so when I reflect it, it's not really like dented in from the swirl. It's just in the paint, all the little metallic pieces. But the molds of the wings are really nice and sharp. They feel good. I mean, this doesn't feel like a knockoff, you know, judging by the way the wings are. They're really nice and sharp. The paint is sharp. Oh my lord. Alright, take two. The paint is nice and sharp on the wings. I am noticing that right there, when they sprayed that yellow, they didn't bother to spray like one corner of it, I guess. Not a big deal, but you know where I'm going with that. It's a little bit of a QC issue. There was, I didn't want to rub it off completely, but there was, like, you know, you put tape on something, then you take the tape off, it leaves some kind of like sticky residue. There's some of that going on there. I don't know if you could see. I left a little couple of dots. Pretty much gone. I rubbed them off. They do rub off. They probably had tape on there while they were painting something. Who knows? It does have some gold plating there, but I believe it's since been chipping a little bit. Some of the color, I don't remember seeing. Yeah, look, it's a little weird. It's coming off from handling, so just be careful with that. That's just my fingerprint, greasy fingerprint. This feels good. Let me show you. Let me actually fold these because I don't want to snap them. This feels good. It's really soft, but it feels nice. It's not the yeah, no, it's average. But what really feels good are like these things right here. That feels hefty. So do these. And they are a metal to metal teeth here. I don't see any flakes of metal coming out, so I don't think it's wearing out, but I'm sure it's been painted, so if any flakes come out, it's going to be just black plastic. This feels good too. That feels nice. It looks like it might be maybe slightly scuffing the stomach there, so just something to keep an eye out for. One thing I did notice, and I know it's like that in the GX-71, as a matter of fact, my GX-71, I didn't even bother because it was so hard. This is kind of difficult, but I guess I pushed a little further or a little harder because this is a KO, so it's not as bad if I break it. But this piece actually snaps in. Actually, just then I barely had to even try. Maybe it's because I've already done it a couple of times, but lock in the shoulders. I can't do that with my GX-71. And this locks. See that? Because it's annoying when you're playing around with the toy and you go to turn an arm and then this part flips around. You know what I'm talking about. It does that on the original too. But again, the ratchets feel really good. The metal, I'll tell you what the metal looks like. It almost looks, have you had, or do you have the original, what is the MP4? I don't know, whatever the Masterpiece Megatron is, he gets that like cosmic rust, or whatever they call it, the oxidation of the raw metal. Happens to the best toys. I mean, I have Soul of Chogokin's, I wonder if I have that dude here, Grendizer. But it happens to Let me see if I can grab him. I think I have him right here. Yeah, I do have him. He's a little dusty, but you can see these legs are supposed to be shiny, and they're not. So, as a matter of fact, let me rub this a little bit with my t-shirt and show you the difference. Well, there's barely any difference, but you can see it's a little darker there because I buffed a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you can buff that out, but it's just annoying. But, you know, it looked good when it was new. This is brand new, but it already looks like that. But I don't think it's because it's oxidized up to this point. I just think it's because that's the way they're casting it. And this is what the original will look like if you handle it and don't clean it after you're done. But I don't think it detracts much. I don't know. I thought it would really bother me, but I kind of like the look of like just raw metal. But yeah, other than that, you know, joints feel good. I'm not going to do the comparison, unfortunately, to the original Black Lion because mine has been modified, so it's kind of unfair, you know, to judge side by side because you might either think this one looks cooler because you don't like the longer legs of the original that I modified, or vice versa. It might make the other one look much cooler. So it's not a straight up comparison, but we will obviously be comparing the two fully formed, even though, yeah, it doesn't make sense because the fully formed will still have the longer legs. But anyway, I'm just making excuses and blabbing. So really, I'm just too lazy to take it apart. You know what? I'm not going to be lazy. Let's just show you guys. Alright, so here I got them side by side. We got the original here, GX-71, and this is the Fantasy Jewel. The reason he's looking down is because, well, first of all, we all know why we're here. We're looking to see what the comparisons are, what kind of quality issues you can expect, and things like that. So there's definitely some. But let's get to what I'm talking about. So here, when I'm trying to fold the head back, this little thing that covers the back of the head when it's like robot mode, it's supposed to slide in. Kind of really doesn't. I don't know if it's getting in the way of the face here, which, by the way, when you first get it, the face isn't on there. And I know I can get it in there. It's just a pain in the butt. So it just took a little bit of a fix here. You can see I can... Okay, I guess I didn't fix it. Well, alright, there we go. So the little fix just involved me rounding off this edge here, but then I realized, oh wait, I don't really want to do that because that's the back of the head, so I kind of filed down a little bit of the inside. Just needs to be rounded off. It's just a little bit of extra flash, just so you know, right? So I was saying before, it might not be a fair thing to compare because I got the long legs on this, whatever, but I think we can still compare, right? So we can see some differences already. We can see the yellow here. There's gray areas there. There is black holes right here, and here it's just painted gold. I did notice the tail is a lot harder to work with on this than it is on this one. This one just folds up and down. You know, doesn't really get in the way. This one just stops right here. Actually, now, well, right here. So it's like you got to fold this down, which, by the way, this area, of course, it's not going to do it now. I was going to say it comes down a lot easier than the other one. kind of have to fiddle with it and move things around just to put a tail in. It's kind of annoying. My tail is not broken, although I'm sure by handling it, it will eventually break. One thing I did want to show you guys is, first of all, we all know there's no chrome on this. It's just like a raw, kind of like oxidized looking metal. Even though it's not oxidized, it's just the way it's done. The GX-71 does use chrome parts, and it's actual chrome because it's the chroming metal. And I do have these chromed out legs. You notice they get a clouding on them. No matter how many times I clean it, it gets clouded. If anybody knows like a solution for that, I don't know, some kind of cream, some kind of ointment I can put on that to keep it from clouding, please let me know. I did kind of wipe it off on here, but it's annoying because 5 seconds later it's going to be there. It's not fingerprints, it just gets clouded, and I don't know why this is scratched here. Anyway, it's kind of annoying. That's why I kind of don't like chrome parts, but they look cool, but you know, whatever. Just not on something like this. This is nice stuff that you want to put on display, but not with, you know, stuff all over it. But we're not talking about the real GX-71 anyway. We got this guy. Let's put on some weapons. He does come with the little shoulder cannon things and the little mouth sword. Let's pop these on. See how nice they tab in pretty good. That's good. We're going to open the mouth, and the head just likes to chill out on the mouth. And the head thing, to bring it down, is a whole nother thing too, because it just gets stuck right there. I mean, I have done it a few times where like now it doesn't get stuck, but like to bring it up, I'm pushing down. It will not close. You have to push like on his forehead with your thumb, right against his nose, and it does go in, and then you have to like just keep messing with it just to, I think it's just a pain in the butt, really. So let's get this in there. I think the head is in the way, but let's try this again. Alright, there we go. So it fits nicely. It's just a little bit of a pain. The figure itself, I'm not gonna lie, feels good. I mean, it's heavy die cast and plastic. As far as the quality of the material, it's not lacking in the material. It for sure is not that. It's just those little quirks that I'm just going over, those little annoyances. And I did say that maybe the original wasn't swirled paint or plastic, and I was right. So the original is just straight up red plastic, a nice bright red plastic. You'll see the swirls on here. The swirls, you can't feel them. They're just in the metallic little, you know, things that they put in the color just to make it look metallic. And as far as, you know, how solid he is, like the shoulders seem pretty solid. As a matter of fact, kind of felt like these shoulders might be a little looser. Yeah, see, they kind of drop on my original right here. I don't play with this, believe me. This is probably the only, like the second time I've ever transformed it. This does not drop like that, so that's something it's got going for it. But you know, again, I don't really transform these much, so I don't know how much longer that's going to last. The ratcheting here, I did notice, it doesn't feel so good, you know. And the original has very nice sounding ratchets. These ratchets almost sound like they're wearing out as I move them. They feel very rough. Actually, this one, why does this one, hold on a second. This ratchets, ratchets when it's open, but not very well. But this one has a nice ratchet. I don't know what that's about. Inconsistent ratchets is a pet peeve of mine. The next thing we're going to check out before we put them all together is the weapon set that it comes with. What is going on here? Alright, we're going to take the staple off right here and pull out the sword. And from what I can see, these weapon pieces don't look too bad, especially the blazing sword. One thing is you got to put it together, and the blazing sword just getting stuck in every little hole possible. There we go. Alright, so it's got a lot of, you know, markings on the chrome. It's probably not the best chrome on the planet. It's very not finished here. This is, wow, this feels rough, like sandpaper. Literally like fine sandpaper. I'm not gonna lie. It feels just like sandpaper. And then you got the, oh, it's just like half of the handle. Alright, so they want us to build this. Is this something, you know, are they doing this to cut costs? Are they doing this to give us more interaction with our toys? I don't know. But this piece, alright, this is at least one piece here. And it is painted. The chrome is It looks like they painted the edges right here, because this kind of looks silver compared to the chrome there. So, well, maybe not. I don't know what's going on. On this side, it looks like this part's painted. This side doesn't. Anyway, it looks like we got extra tails. The regular ones, which is cool, because I don't like those segmented ones. I think they were a good idea, but kind of corny, really. We got the other halves here and little tabs. I'm going to try and put this sword together. Alright, and I believe these are the jewels. While I was putting this together, I realized that these little nub things, the little jewels, as you can see, pop right off. So this is the fantasy part of the jewels, because it's a fantasy to keep these things on. And I just lost one. I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to put this together. We at least want to get the sword looking somewhat what it needs to look like. It doesn't tab very well. Like, I guess this goes in on the inside. Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to glue this. I think this is what I think they wanted you to glue this. This is like a kit, I guess. But I just get it together for you right here. Yeah, like it doesn't even tab together. It's just, look at that. So I'm not really being too serious about putting this together. You know, just going with the flow here, guys. Pop this in. At least this pops in nice, I think, right? And then we got the handle for the shield. The shield actually feels nice. It's got a little bit of heft, I guess, of all the chrome. And you got these two longer swords that combine together, or use them individually. It's up to you. But you know, I'm sure we're not here for this, for the weapons. The weapons we can get away with gluing them and everything. We want to see what this thing is like put together. That's what I'm excited about, is to see what this is going to look like combined. Now, from what I've seen, I have seen some of the other videos, Ben Collectibles and all that stuff, or you know, a couple of them, and from what I see, people are trying to get rid of this. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me go ahead and get this guy together. Just wanted to stop right here a second. You guys ever fold your nail back? Can you see that? That fold? That really hurts. Anyway, so up to this part I had already done before. I didn't do the arms yet, because that's the one that I feel is going to give the most issues. But the legs, actually, I'm not even going to swap the tails out. Should I do that? What do you guys think? Should I do the tails? I'm not going to swap the tails. But like I said, they have different tails. You know what I mean? You can put them on. I'm not going to do that. I really don't care to break anything right now. But we are going to insert the blue lion here. Alright, we got that there, and it's going to have to close around the back, and I noticed it wasn't really doing that before. Alright, there we go. Got the blue. Then we got the yellow and the blue head falling off. Actually, both heads fell off. That is a little annoyance on the part of these. I guess they're too loose. I'm sure you can take care of that with some, what do you call it? What's that stuff called? Nail polish or whatever. Shouldn't have to, but you can. Alright, so, yeah, this thing is just, what is up with this? I'm actually, can I get this to, like, stand properly? Well, to be fair, just a tad, I'm not using those little heels, because I don't use them in the original, so I shouldn't have to use them in this one. So, if the original can do it, this should be able to do it. Stand up without those heels. Alright, so we got the arm lions. Right? Folding this in. I don't know what the deal is with keeping the tails on there. I'm not going to keep them on there, because what's the point? Really? If it's going to be in there. But anyway, we're going to attach this. Wow. Wow. I don't even think that clicked in there. Let's try this side here. Yeah, I don't know. It's supposed to be clicking in, because it doesn't. Alright, so I tried to shove the arms in off camera. They don't click in. It's almost like a friction fit. I don't think that was the intent of the design, but that was the end result of the quality, I guess, really, and the parts and all that. It's a shame. It's a shame. I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, this looks really good. It looks like a GX-71, right? And for those of you that couldn't get one, this is an option, but you do have to, if you're willing, put up with these little annoyances, the feet falling off, the arms not tabbing in correctly. Matter of fact, let's just get this completely done here. I bent my nail. You guys saw that? That sucked. That really hurts. Get these two little things out. So, looks wise, let's just say, come on, this is impressive, right? I mean, it looks good. Camera shaky because I don't have a stable floor. But anyway, kind of goes along with the review, right? So, it looks really good from all angles. I mean, it's standing up. I mean, it's just kind of awkward the way I have it. Like, it's kind of like, see how the legs are back? All kind of weird. That's the only way I could really get it to kind of stand. I mean, so I guess for what it is, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's a stand-in, really. This is a stand-in for a GX-71 because at the end, I would only recommend getting an original. But if you need something that looks good on the shelf, this will do it. As a matter of fact, since I don't have a proper display area, I will be using this in place of my GX-71 until I get a nice, you know, display area again. But yeah, it's just got those things, the arms. Well, the arms are moving. All right, so, and they're not popping out. They're not popping out as easily as I thought. So that's weird. They didn't really tab it. It's more of a friction. It felt like a friction fit, but let's just say they do work. You know what I mean? At least on mine. Oh, never mind. There we go. As soon as you start folding stuff, it starts popping out. Oh, now this one doesn't want to stay in. Isn't that the issue that what's his name had? Ben? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say what's his name. Ben, you're cool. I love you, but I'm just distracted here. It's like wow, it's a lot of force. Yeah. So this isn't really something you want to be playing with. It will hold. It's just a little bit of an annoyance. Let's go ahead and compare with the original. This is how things should click. Should be nice and satisfying. Boom, just like that. Close the back. We're going to attach the arms here. I already know the tails work with this, so you see how that snapped in, and you can just do all you. Oh, this popped off. This is how I folded my nail before, which, by the way, I could get this to work now. Well, maybe not. Whatever. We're going to leave that alone. Don't want to bend another nail, but you can see already the difference in quality. Everything's just the way it's supposed to be. This is why you pay for stuff, you know. This is why you pay more. But speaking of more, it's not necessarily cheaper. We all know the Fantasy Jewel pretty much comes out to the price of this when it first came out, so it's kind of hard to swallow that. But here they are together. Now, remember, I do have the longer thighs. It doesn't seem to be an issue with comparing side by side at this moment. But I don't know, there's something like wobbly about this one. Right? I don't think I have that same wobbliness. I guess to a certain extent, but at the same time, I am using different thighs, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Just the way it's standing, just something looks a little off. But it would still look great, really, on display. So I don't know what more I can say about this, guys. It's you know, you're gonna have your haters, you're gonna have your people that want it anyway. I'll tell you this: if you can't absolutely get the original GX-71, this is a good stand-in. If you're not playing with it, like, just set it and forget it. I usually say that, you know, with collectible stuff. You don't really want to be messing around with these, transforming them 600 times. That's perfect. And you may, even though this is expensive for a KO, it's still going to be much cheaper than buying the original, unless you can find it in a regular release where they charge regular prices for it. But I don't know if you like what you see. Again, it's not you know, the worst thing I've ever seen, and it's not the best, but it looks beautiful, feels good in the hand. If you can put up with those little quirks here, you can actually pick one up from tfdirect.com, which is down on the link in the description below. And if you have any questions or comments, guys, please feel free to leave them there. Ask whatever you want. And until next time, bye-bye.